listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is the Awards Watch Podcast, episode 314. I'm your executive editor, Ryan McQuade, and joining me today is Trace Sauveur.
What's up?
Trace, it feels like forever since you've been on a podcast with us, man.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I say it every time. I always forget I can sign up to be on the podcast. I always forget there's a document that exists where I can just say I'm going to be on this episode.
To be fair, Trace was with me at Toronto, and then things got so busy. I wanted him to be on the Toronto show, but we didn't really do a traditional Toronto show, and life got in the way, and then I've been gone for forever, and then you've been gone for forever, and so it was like, okay, well, you know, we haven't talked in a while. We haven't done just like a regular episode on a Monday where it's based off of a movie that's come out. So what should we do? What should we talk about? What is the world talking about? And I picked The Running Man, and I think I was fucking wrong.
The movie the world is talking about. Number 2 at the box office behind Now You Three Me.
Did you see Now You Three Me?
I reviewed it for the website.
That's right, you did. And you gave it an A+.
Yeah.
The first time in the history of the site. No, we don't do A+s here.
My favorite movie franchise. The movie franchise that's based on a bunch of magicians that pull off heists, but for some reason are also like the movies. I know we're talking about The Running Man, but like
that's fine.
I just have to talk about the Now You See Me movies.
Yeah.
These fucking like the entire conceit is that they are magicians like doing heists as like Robin Hood acts, and so like you think like, okay, well they're gonna kind of like position these heists from a filmmaking standpoint as like, oh, these are kind of like maybe more like tactile, realistic, like magic tricks that they could that we're gonna show how they were able to pull off as kind of like our own kind of filmmaking magic trick. But really, like they just kind of have like supernatural abilities and are able to do whatever they want at any given time in the movie. So they're just like doing whatever, and like it means nothing.
Basically,
they're stupid movies,
like a Marvel movie with magic.
It's literally what it is, because they're just like superheroes. And like in this third one, like there's characters that are like reintroduced like MCU characters because we haven't seen them in a while. So
Lizzie Kaplan. You know what I mean?
She shows up like halfway through, and it's supposed to be like, whoa, it's Lizzie Kaplan's
back. Guess who's back? Back again.
It's Kaplan.
It's Kaplan time. No, I mean, was it like Isla Fisher back in this one because she wasn't in the second one?
Yeah, she comes back in this. Yeah, she sat
That's because of money. It's got to be. It's got to be because of money.
I mean, look, this movie, it's number 1 at the box office this past weekend. So the people fuck with the magic movies.
That doesn't really mean much, does it?
No, not really, but like
because like the box office, if we want to talk about it, just before we start getting into The Running Man, is because the box office has been absolute dog shit the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
The independent cinema that's been released, and there's a lot of great movies that are out. Like there are a lot of interesting movies, a lot of movies that we expect to be in like the conversation for picture, a conversation for things like, Begonia has been out. The new Oscar Perkins film Keeper, which tanked. A movie that's also very interesting too is Predator's Badlands, a movie that seemed to get genuinely fine reviews.
Yeah,
but in a movie ecosystem a couple of years ago would have made 45-50 million maybe, and where is that even sitting at right now, Trace? Like that's a movie that's I think it's not doing, it didn't like make waves at the box office.
It didn't make huge. I will say, like, I am like on the box office subreddit just to see what people are kind of, what they're scrying when they're looking at the box office tea leaves. And I think Predator Badlands is actually generally considered a success. I think it kind of pulled in more than people were expecting.
I mean, oh shit, it is at like $96 million.
Yeah, so Predator is actually the one outlier that it's actually doing pretty well. But you do have a bunch of movies that are
so it made like 40.
Flopping.
Yeah, so I mean like 40, I guess, but
then you have movies like Christie, which
Yeah.
What was it like? What would like the number 9
Well,
worst performing
that
opening
just
weekend?
shows that genes can't sell everything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
both genetics and
And,
gene ads.
nor can your weird aloof interviews where you kind of like toe
I
the line
mean,
between admitting to being a white supremacist or not.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not. Listen, I if you got your politics, leave them out the door. Because I think like when you open a movie at like 2,000, 3,000 screens, and it fucking tanks worse than like most films out this season, and you genuinely got a little bit of buzz for yourself,
Yeah,
right? Things are not going to look good, right? Like for
yeah,
you personally, but no, it's just been it has been weird. Maybe that's the other thing too, is like why I thought Predators Badlands wasn't particularly doing so well is because it sounds like it's hasn't been doing well. Like nothing's making an obscene amount of money here. I guess it's finding a small audience, but like I'm not hearing anybody like mention that movie to me. No one's talking about that online. I mean, I did see that like Black Phone 2, which is like an inexpensive horror sequel, did really fine for itself in the small theaters that it is playing. Frankenstein from Del Toro is doing really well on streaming, but there hasn't been a
yep.
big hit. It feels like the calm before the Wicked storm, the calm before the Avatar storm, the calm before the Tutopias.
Tutopia,
Yeah, Tutopia takes over. Like, so
Five
this
Nights at Freddy's
weekend
too.
is always fascinating because there's always a weekend like this where you're talking about Now You Three Me,
Yep.
and then we're going to talk about The Running Man right now, where there's this just on paper these movies should make a crap ton of money,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and this movie should probably as well. It's from Edgar Wright, stars Glenn Powell, it's got a big cast, it's an
Stephen King
action movie,
adaptation.
Stephen King adaptations, which are like the fucking thing everybody's been doing right now. Which I got to ask you, are we getting too many of those?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Are we
absolutely.
are we like do we need to like pause on the Steve? Like I feel like for a long time when he was when he was at the height of his powers, we were getting so many of these. I feel like we had like what 3 different Stephen King adaptations this year with Life of Chuck, The Long Walk. This do I feel like am I missing one?
Also, Welcome to Derry.
That's yeah
The
okay
It
yeah.
show, and then I mean, even last year, The Monkey. Like, I mean, I know it was last year, but really recent.
Oh no, The Monkey is this year. It was in February.
That was this year. Oh
That
my
was this
God.
year, so that
Yeah.
counts. So 4 movies in a
Jesus,
television show.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. No. And I mean, you know, to maybe maybe spoil getting into thoughts on The Running Man. Uh, I mean, I haven't seen The Long Walk, but I heard it was good. But The Running Man, I feel like uh, if you don't have anything interesting to say with your Stephen King adaptation, then we don't need to be making it. And
That's
maybe,
true. Well, that gets us to this film, The Running Man, which you did not review up on the website. Jay did a review,
yeah,
which is rare,
Mr.
but
Ledbetter.
Mr. Ledbetter, and it was a really great review. It's honestly probably a better review than the movie itself, and than the movie deserved. But this is a movie that's been has been made before off the Stephen King adaptation, Arnold Schwarzenegger film in the 80s.
Yes.
And not really like a greatly successful film when it came out. And mostly just like a kind of like a cult following.
Yeah, I think
Like it's not in the upper canon of Schwarzenegger's films. I mean, it's also interesting that like the movie kind of feels like a Verhoeven film, even though Verhoeven and him hadn't worked together yet. It's released literally, I think, the same year as RoboCop
it is the same year as RoboCop.
in
Yeah,
'89. So like, yeah, it's right on the cusp of them working together. But then here comes Glenn Powell on paper.
he's running towards you.
He's running towards you. This is a movie star test for Glenn Powell. Like we're gonna get the movie star test for Chalamet here in a couple weeks with Marty Supreme, which, based off of the marketing already, is in desperate mode. It looked like a little bit with the video and the blimp and looking like a Kids Choice
Oh
Award
yeah,
or
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
Nickelodeon blimp or whatever the hell's
Yeah.
going on. Like
Who's releasing that one?
A24
That's A24. Yeah. I mean,
at Christmas time.
they'll do anything.
Yeah, I mean they don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Because the Smashing Machine flopped and Anything flopped.
Similar to Park Chan Wook, it's no other choice.
Yes, yes, they're exactly the same thing. But no, it's got Edgar Wright behind it, and Edgar Wright coming off of maybe the worst film of his career in Last Night
Oh,
in Soho.
unquestionably the
Yeah.
worst film of his career in
Well, I
Last Night
don't
in
know.
Soho.
I don't know if you've got a controversial take in you or not. You know.
Well, I do
Uh,
have a controversial take about Edgar Wright, and it's
okay. Well,
definitely
I think we can save that because I think we're going to have to talk about Edgar Wright here
all
in the
right.
course of this conversation.
Okay.
But I want to get your thoughts on the Running Man itself, and and what you think of this new version of the
Yes.
Running Man
So I've never read the book.
because you
I
don't know how
did.
to read.
No, I've never learned to read, and that's why I refuse to read any books before I see the movie.
It's very funny when you write your reviews. It's
Yeah.
all in your head, and you can't go back to the previous sentence because you're like, well, fuck it. Like
Well,
this
I,
is.
I dictate to my wife, and she just writes it.
I like how she's like
It's
your secretary, like Lily Collins and Mank. You know.
yeah. Who was there's some very classically famous author who was blind and dictated their writings to someone that wrote it out, and I can't remember who it is right now.
I'm sure the listeners and probably Sophia are yelling at us, being like, "It's this person, you idiots! Um, Make a joke and actually know what it is." Anyway, go ahead.
I did watch the original Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man before seeing this movie because I'd never seen it. And yeah, I thought it was just kind of okay. Definitely like a weaker Arnold action vehicle from kind of his prime period that I didn't think was too particularly memorable, kind of just like flatly directed. But okay for what it is, but I saw like a lot of room in which there could be an improvement on it. And so going into Edgar Wright's Running Man, I was like, okay, like I can see why this was something that maybe um, justified making another version of it because the original's just not that great anyway. After watching it, I'm just not really sure why Edgar Wright was all that interested in making this. He talks about how he wanted to make this movie, but it really feels kind of like a for hire job that kind of got rushed through production because they started production on this 1 year ago this month. So they got it into theaters extremely, extremely quickly. And I think it kind of shows. I couldn't, if I didn't know this was directed by Edgar Wright, I couldn't on first glance tell you that it was, which is something that I feel, and I think that would probably be true for Last Night in Soho as well. So he's kind of like, I feel like he's trying to broaden his identity within his filmmaking outside of his very like kinetic, stylish stuff he was doing with the Cornetto trilogy. But it's all just kind of bland, really. And that's kind of what Running Man is. It's just kind of like just kind of like bog standard sort of like Stephen King action movie adaptation from a guy who should be making a much more interesting version of this movie that I think neuters a lot of what I've heard of from the book is a much more bleak, much more kind of impactful cultural commentary that I think Edgar Wright kind of squanders here. And I'm saying all this, despite all this, I like kind of thought the movie was sort of fun. I didn't mind watching it, but it has a shitload of problems, especially once you get into the back half. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely disappointing venture from what I was hoping was him getting back into a mode that was more suited to his sensibilities following Last Night in Soho, which just felt so out of his wheelhouse that he just couldn't handle it. But after it definitely is an improvement on Last Night in Soho, but it is still just like he needs to. I think he needs to do just some reassessing about his next project and who he's working with, because it's definitely not the full return to form that I wanted from him.
Yeah, I think that this is I tweeted about this and I put it on on social media on Letterbox as well with the caption, "We need to have a conversation about Edgar Wright."
Yeah,
And I truly believe that because this is one of the more fascinating kind of turn of a downfall of someone that had, I think, incredibly favorable goodwill for a generation. Like I
Yeah,
like Trace, I think for our generation, mostly guys, but a
for
lot
sure.
of people, a lot of people. Like my wife loves Edgar Wright.
Hmm.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, even The World's End. These are four movies that mean a lot to the millennial generation growing up. It felt
Yep.
like this is a guy that is spoofing, they're making fun of, these are fun, entertaining films that kind of introduce a style and aesthetic to anyone that loves movies, and then you can branch out from there. Like you can watch Shaun of the Dead, and then you'd be like, okay, what are all those movies? What are they riffing on? What are they a part of?
Hmm.
In the zombie genre. And then same with Hot Fuzz with the action film buddy films. And then sci-fi possession films, you can go that way. And then Scott Pilgrim's just a fucking fun movie. It
Yeah.
is and always has been. I rewatched clips of it before going into Running Man, which doesn't help Running Man because when you watch Scott Pilgrim, it's got an energy to it.
Yeah.
It's
It
got
has a
a
propulsion.
it's got this great giant cast. It's got this meta funny narrative to it. It's very sincere. It's very fun. It's very stylized to your point. Baby Driver's the turn
It is.
where it has its energy. It also has maybe the most cursed cast in American filmmaking history.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Um,
hard movie to go back and watch now.
with Ansel Elgort and Kevin Spacey and whatever the fuck goes on with Jamie Foxx and Barenthal and his podcasts and
John Hamm and hazing people in college or something.
yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of fucking problems with that movie. And is it Lily James is the female lead in that film?
Yes, it's Lily James.
And Lily James, who seems lovely but can't make good decisions on a project to save her life. And
Yeah.
it was like, what is that? What was it? The Tinder? Was it
Yes,
Tinder
I think it was
or
the other one.
Bumble or
Bumble.
whatever?
I think it was
Yeah,
Bumble.
Bumble creator,
It's
and it
called
was at
Swipe.
TIFF. And
Yeah.
guess what? Nobody fucking saw it. They
No,
swiped they swiped the other way. They said no, thank you. And so that movie is, I think, cursed. And since then, I will say this about Last Night in Soho. I almost said One Night in Soho. Last Night in Soho is, I think, for the first half of that movie, genuinely stylized perfectly, building up a tone, kind of an interesting concept and idea. But then the back half of that movie is so poorly executed, leads to nowhere, and rushes itself. I think that it just absolutely shits the bed by the end.
Sounds like a another movie we might be talking about today.
Well, that's the thing is that then I think that Edgar Wright is just living off of 10 years ago, 8 years ago when he made great films.
Yeah.
And you can do that if you're making a film every 2 to 3 years. He's making it every 4 to 5. And Last Night in Soho was a disaster. Probably box office wise, right? It didn't do really well.
I assume it did not perform at
And
the box office.
and
Although
now
Baby Driver was a big success, I will say.
Baby Driver was a really small, very good success. Like I'm looking up Last Night in Soho, just to see what it was, because I remember it being in this year. It was in 2021. It's a $43 million film on the budget, and it made 23 million at the box office. So, no, thank you is what audience said.
Yeah.
We don't have the specific totals just of yet for Running Man. We don't know those, but we know what the budget is on it. It's a $110 million film. It's the studio doubling down on a passion project for him. It's got one of the more up and coming recognizable names with Glenn Powell.
Hmm.
And when I think of The Running Man, I think of this pulpy B minus sort of film from Schwarzenegger, kind of, you know, just kind of on the B side of the catalog of Arnold to Run. And I think of, okay, well, that's an interesting concept. You know, the interesting
Yeah.
concept of like a game show and having to survive 30 days and you can get this insane amount of wealth. I mean, that's essentially what the Hunger Games was, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And those movies, whether people like it or not, are pretty good for franchise YA, kind of films. Like
For sure.
Francis, we're gonna have to have a conversation, by the way, like Francis Lawrence, like stuck in that universe for the rest of his life. That man cannot get out of it and will
Yeah.
not get out of it. But so it sounds like a really good idea, and it is poorly executed on every front. This is a tonal nightmare of a
Yeah,
movie.
that it really is. And I feel like post Cornetto, I feel like Wright has this problem where he does not know what kind of movie he wants to make. And I feel like this happened with Baby Driver, Last Night in Soho, and now Running Man, where from scene to scene, I just can't tell how funny he wants to be, how sincere he wants to be, how earnest, how much he's trying to mix like some of that more kind of like, winking type of right humor with just more like earnest like melodrama or action movie stuff or horror movie stuff if it's Last Night in Soho. He just has a real I see a real problem with him trying to decide on an actual mood for his movie, where I feel like with the Cornetto stuff, he kind of had an out where like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz especially, these are, they're skewering kind of the genres that those movies are, and so they get to be comedic versions of themselves. But I will say, even with those movies, he somehow like mixes in a lot of like very good, earnest character work
Yeah,
in with the comedy in those movies. So I don't know why it's not possible
I have a
with
theory.
The Running Man. Oh, I
I have
have
a
a theory too.
I have a theory, and his name is Simon Pegg.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that like it's very funny to me. Like I was doing rewatches of Wes Anderson last year, in anticipation for Phoenician Scheme this year. And when you watch the first part of Wes Anderson's career, the thing that kind of stands out is, wow, Owen Wilson really helped guide a lot of this, some of these really more emotional, complicated, scripts.
Yep.
Then he does like Steve Zissou and Darjeeling Limited, where he's solo writing those bad boys, and it's like, nope, this isn't working. Like
Yeah.
you need a little bit of help. And and then now he's back on his run, where he's
Yep.
like Fantastic Mr. Fox working with Noah Baumbach, Grand Budapest Hotel, and it goes from there and there. And he's never really worked solo since. He's always had Roman Coppola or somebody else with him, because it's all honestly, you ready for the sports metaphor? It's honestly like a
Always.
really good coach that calls their own plays.
Okay.
And they haven't called their own plays in a while because they were like a coordinator at first, and then they became head coach. And like, I think I could do all of this.
Yeah.
I think I can call the plays and I can run the team and I can do that. And you know what? A lot of coaches end up doing? They end up giving away their power of calling plays, their old job, because they realize I need to focus on everything on
Yeah.
this team, not just what I specifically did to get the job. And that's a little, and so you give control over to somebody you trust, you hire, you trust them to help find, like you could still have your, like if you're an offense or defensive guy, you could still have that coordinator, they're going to run the show, they're going to call the plays, but it's a lot of your scheme and a lot of your ideas and help you make that movie into what it is. And Last Night in Soho and this are prime examples of that, where the guy has completely, he's writing these things himself. He's making these movies left and right by himself. He's got writers working with him like Michael Bacall, who are not as familiar
Yeah.
with him, that is not as personal with him.
Yeah. Well, I was
And
gonna say,
Peg's a good writer. Like if you
yeah.
go watch that last Star Trek movie they did before that franchise faded into existence. It's a good movie. It's probably the best written film because it doesn't have to get into the minutia of all the crap with Leonard Nimoy and the past, and all that
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
JJ
Yeah.
Abrams. It's like actually a good, solid just entry into that franchise.
Yeah.
And it's quite emotional by the end because Peg can do all that. There's no emotion here. You don't buy into any of these characters whatsoever.
There's not. And like you mentioning Michael Bacall co-wrote this with Wright. He also co-wrote Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which I would say fits because as much as I like Scott Pilgrim, it is not as great as a screenplay
No,
as
but
Shaun
that's
of the Dead.
also built off the back of an art. Like I think that when people write graphic novels or when they write comic book screenplays, unless
Yeah.
they're reinventing the wheel or they're taking all these things left and right, for something like that graphic novel, it's all it's all in the book.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
like adding a couple of lines or jokes in there, that's really what he did. And it's
Yep.
really about the pace and the moving of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about the
So,
direction of that movie rather than the screen. To your point, than the screenplay, which is like they're kind of already given the tools in a book, and there's not a lot of emotional connection to those characters in that movie, as opposed to the Cornetto films. Where
exactly.
you find that like I think The World's End is maybe the last great film he made
I
because
think it's
that's
his
a
best movie.
very serious movie dealing with. I think even the archetypes they've created in their little trilogy, it's kind of reflective. And then he's sort of like, it's kind of like then also too being like in a band and saying, I want to go solo.
Right.
And some people, and Simon Pegg's like traveling the world with Tom Cruise. Meanwhile, this fucking guy is making no money for anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and they didn't just double down after Last Night in Soho. They fucking almost tripled down after this thing with this movie. And I have to say that, I will say this. Glenn Powell is a movie star.
Sure.
He is. He is a movie star. I wish for the love of fucking God, someone would give him a project that gets to show off that charisma the entire time.
Yeah.
Because this movie takes all that charisma and throws it away. I don't think there's a second in this movie where I'm like, that is a traditional, like the Schwarzenegger film. At least Schwarzenegger is Schwarzenegger in that movie.
Mhm.
He gets to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. If poorly written, constructed, however you want to say it, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger that entire time.
Yeah.
They asked Glenn Powell here to be this super serious asshole the entire way through.
It was so funny.
And it's like, it's the antithesis of why you hire him in the first place.
It's such a contrast to what his appeal is.
He's big smile, Texas.
He's a charmer.
He's like McConaughey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the Texas, and he's got the dog, and Brisket, and his family's in every fucking thing, and he's
in school. He's like, yeah.
He's one of the most gorgeous men on the planet. Like, you know what I mean? My God, women would fall to the ground when you see him. Like, I was at an event.
Oh.
I was at a premiere in Austin for Hitman, and my wife saw him, and I went up to him and met him, and he's a super nice guy. My wife couldn't even attempt to go and meet him because she was like, that's too much. He's gorgeous. Like, and like ran the other direction. But that's the type of movie star he is.
Yeah.
And that's what we ask for in this. And then you give him shit like this. And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's so fucking long.
Of absolute super self-serious gobbledygook that has no real juice or flavor to it, that speaks, like you're saying, of Edgar Wright. It's got this uber fucking political messaging to it that's so over the top and beats you so over the head and isn't subtle about anything. But honestly, I would be okay with that if it was interestingly written,
That's
if
yeah.
it was performed in a way that didn't feel so like, been there, done that. It felt like a Adam McKay film from like 5, 6 years ago. It feels like he's playing catch up on this idea, and that this idea has already just been done. Like, I think, I hate to say it, but like the Hunger Games did this
It did.
and
No,
built off of this.
a movie like this post Hunger Games world, like actually, like it
It
does
makes it
just
look
kind of fall
terrible
flat. Yeah, it kind of really does actually.
because that movie, it doesn't, you already just know the world's fucked.
Yeah,
And we establish everything in that first movie so well. And we know we're building up to one giant event, which is the literal Hunger Games of it all.
yep.
And you feel the totality of these kids having to go fight, as tribute for their sections, basically for their countries. And you see the rich, versus we see the class warfare. In this, the movie is, it's talking about these archetypes, it's talking about this corruption of game, it's talking about class warfare, it's talking about income inequality, it's got, racial components to it as well. It's honestly trying to be the other movie I was thinking of, Trace. This is trying to be the political commentary of the year in a blockbuster, and we already fucking have that, and it's called One Battle After Another.
Yeah,
And so it's
ill-timed.
very even down to the revolution will not be televised, used in one of the climactic scenes at the end of the movie, like the instrumental of that song is used, because I've heard that song now used in this and in Gus Van Sant's Dead Man's Wire. And my God, they need to stop using that song, because it didn't just me as an audience member reminds me of the masterpiece that Paul Thomas Anderson gave us, and it reminds me of the flaws within your film that you've created as well.
Yeah. I think you make a good point that like I don't think I would really care that the social commentary in this movie is so kind of ham-fisted and beats you over the head so hard if it was actually in any way like insightful or subversive, which at this point I just don't think, especially between Last Night in Soho and this now, which both kind of have like elements of just kind of like misbegotten, misguided social commentary.
I mean,
Just
how does it get fixed? How does it get fixed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I guess the only way to fix it would have been if at the end he just accepts it.
Well, do you like
Like, he becomes the guy that they want him to be by the end, which actually would have been interesting.
Do you know how the book ends?
No, but you can say it. Spoiler for a book that's been out for like 40 years.
Yeah. So, and this is where okay. So I will say before I get into how the book ends, I will say I kind of enjoyed this movie, especially like the first hour or so. I would say everything up through the Michael Cera segment. I thought at least like had a decent energy to it once he's in the game and like has these set pieces where he's having to get away from these hunters. I was like, I at least understand the rhythm that this movie has right now.
Okay.
And it is like, it's well shot. Who shot this movie? It was Chung Hoon.
Yeah.
So like it looks pretty nice. The set pieces are decent. I won't say they're mind-blowing, but I did get like a little bit of excitement out of them. And I did get some of the right isms that he has from being a competent filmmaker in them.
Okay.
Which is like a pretty low bar for a compliment that
you're like you're like giving him minimal compliments right now.
Yes.
But okay.
But I'm just trying to say that by the time that we get the post Michael Cera, I feel like the movie kind of splits in two. Once Glenn Powell's in the car with
Amelia Jones.
Yes.
Coda herself. Miss Coda.
The movie completely falls apart.
She's fucking terrible in this movie.
She's terrible in it. It's a terrible character. Apparently the character's in the book, but the way she's integrated into this movie, it feels like something someone thought of last minute that needed to be thrown into the last act of this movie.
She's this self-obsessive Kardashian looking person,
yeah.
Yeah, the whole Kardashian kind of thing. Didn't it feel like that was 20 years old?
Yeah,
as well?
a 20-year-old joke that it just feels like he's so behind the times. Anyway.
Doesn't it feel though like, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but
You're
what
good.
you're saying, but I just want to ask you, doesn't it feel like the I called the three billboards problem, where like three billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, a movie that I don't care for.
Yeah,
I don't know if you care for that movie or not.
I haven't thought about it since it came out.
Exactly. But the point of that movie is just like, wow, this guy from across the pond is going to tell us all about how racist we are. And
Right.
he's never lived a day in his life in that area, and it feels super out of place and super generic in terms of its commentary, and also, I mean, it's just also kind of offensive that like, oh, these all these Americans are big dumb racists, and it loses nuance. I mean, we are kind of in this country right now, big dumb racists, but what I'm saying is that movie loses any nuance because it doesn't have that familiarity. And then you see Banshees of Inisherin, and you go, oh, there's that familiarity of culture and place and theme and history and everything. And this feels like Edgar Wright being like, well, I've lived in America for a little bit, and people are still obsessed with their Kardashians, right, kids? Like it gives a little bit of that vibe. It gives a little bit of like,
no, it
what are the
definitely
kids?
does.
What are the teeny boppers still talking about? The Kardashians?
It's just such low hanging fruit. Like we all know the Kardashians are stupid. Like
Yeah,
what are you
like
saying? What are you telling me right now?
what
Like,
what
you
am
know.
I learning here about this character? Anyway, back to the book. What you
Yeah,
were
no,
saying
so
about the
like
book.
my bigger point is that it really feels like the last act of this movie is such a hatchet job to the point where like the ending is fumbled
So what happens in the
so
book?
fucking hard. So the entire climax of this movie is that Glenn Powell is going to fly the plane into he's threatening to fly the plane into the network building where they're broadcasting the Running Man show, and he's going to kill everybody. He's going to kill himself and everybody in the building is the intent there. What happens in the movie that he like ends up it's revealed via like a YouTube video from one of the characters that he like secretly escaped, and now he's kind of like living in secret on the streets somehow, even though he was being hunted perfectly fine before that, but whatever.
Yeah,
um
what happened to the tracker?
yeah, I don't
Right,
listen.
like the movie loses all of its logic by the end. Like it's
That's what
like
I'm saying. It's
so.
so
Wait, in the
ridiculous.
book, does he successfully
He flies the plane into the building.
and he sacrifices himself?
Yeah. So
So
like it's a much more impactful, bleak ending, more in line with the other Stephen King adaptation that came out this year, The Long Walk, which again I have not seen, but I have heard it is very uh
it's very bleak, but
yeah.
it's a hell of a lot better than this because it has a consistent tone throughout it.
Yeah.
That is a consistent bleak, almost once again Hunger Game esque type of event,
I
and it gets to focus on the characters themselves. And Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson are really good together.
and I don't know if like, you know, I will give Edgar Wright and Michael Bacall benefit of the doubt. Like maybe the studio was like, "Hey, this is too much. we
I don't
we
know if they
cannot."
want an anarchist. I don't know if Paramount right now
Paramount of all fucking people, right?
wants a motherfucking movie about a revolution happening where their television network is burned to the ground. Like I don't know if that's a studio note that they got
Yeah.
that like was very helpful in changing the ending. I'm pretty sure it's their ending.
Yeah.
And that's so I tend to believe that that's 100% them, and it's a subversion on the book, but it's also done as a way of like it's just done so stupidly. And it's yeah, you're right, because that's what I was talking about, the revolution not be televised. It's played in that YouTube clip, and it's all like from this conspiratorial angle, which by the way, if these people in the media, like Josh Brolin's media, who's the head of like CBS,
Yeah,
essentially head of Paramount Global here,
pretty much.
right? If he's in charge of this network, and he's in charge of, and he's one of the most powerful men on the planet, kind of like an Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos style type of person. That's really what it kind of reminded me of, like when Brolin walks out in the end while it's going crazy on the television show. It reminded me of seeing that video of Jeff Bezos recently at the quarterly meeting walk out with like everybody holding like discount lightsabers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like
Yeah.
it was very, very similar to that. And it made me think about that and took me out of the film. But you would think he'd be able to take down a video on fucking YouTube
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
all places, Like YouTube's now become this underground movement of like, you see here, that's where the pod's at, and they be able to find them. Like in one battle after another, we're able to find people because from a cell phone without even answering it. They just called it and broke it. So we live in this world now where that's the and that's honestly true that you can actually do that. You know, and so it's because I was listening to them talk about like they talked with I think it was Michael Bauman or somebody in the cast was talking about like we had consultants like literally tell us like that's how you can do it. It's crazy. It's scary. Honestly, it really is that they're listening to you all the time and can't find you anywhere. This movie can't take any of the logical things that it says with its technology serious.
It feels very detached from reality. Even
it's
though
like he wants him to kill him at the end.
I realize this is like, a heightened dystopian universe that is in some degree going to be detached from reality in some degree, but I feel like an element like that needs like in order for your commentary to have weight, it needs to have some element of logical consistency there. And sure, like we don't know like, this this anonymous guy that's doing this conspiracy video about how Glenn Powell's character Ben Richards actually escaped. We don't know what this is actually being hosted on. I guess if we're getting into the nitty gritty, we don't know what kind of alternative underground website maybe he's hosting this video on. But
I guess it seems like it's on videotape.
Yeah, but it just seems like it seems like in this dystopian universe compared to our own universe, it feels like all of these super big megacorp tech oligarchs have a way of have a way of either pulling information like this, being able to locate a guy like Ben Richards, even if that video is distributed, as seen by the program The Running Man, where he is found somehow, some way by the trackers and hunters.
Well, they're found because, and they explain this, and it's super convoluted, but it's also extremely terrifying. And they should have dived more into how they have incorporated in the world around them a technology when they take your fucking thumbprint at the beginning of this, that then triggers these almost like satellites or these things on top of lampposts that can find you via DNA in your area.
Which I buy into that. That's cool.
That's cool and terrifying. And like it's like, okay, lean more into that shit.
And I like the idea that like because of that, the game's all rigged. They're letting him get away with what they're going to let him get away with it for the sake of the show. That makes sense. And I think that's kind of like a more trenchant element to the cultural commentary to this movie, even though I will say I feel like some kind of detachment from this concept at this point, just because of it being a reality television show as opposed to some kind of like, I think I read like a New York Mag article that was like, this movie should have been about the internet, which that like it feels kind of retrograde in a way that makes it feel less relevant.
It should have been like a Mr. Beast commentary. And I'm not even joking. I'm not joking about that. I'm definitely serious.
It would have been more relevant.
Because that motherfucker literally put people in like fucking camp. Like he put them in cages and said, try to live.
Yeah.
For like $1 million. You're like, the fuck are you talking about? This is the most terrifying game show. It's like taking Fear Factor and putting it in the head of a blockhead, I have to say, we have to talk about Glenn Powell.
Let's talk about Glenn.
And figure out what he's going to do next. Because is this movie, which I believe it made $6-7 million at the box office, or maybe a little bit more, maybe like 15?
I think it did closer to 20, but I think that's
worldwide.
I'm not sure about worldwide. I'll try to look right now. But
all right, I don't know if we have the numbers out when we're recording.
General. It's projected to gross 23 to 25 million in its opening weekend. I'm still not sure if that's worldwide or just domestic. I assume probably worldwide.
If that's worldwide, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's really
fucking bad. Awful. But that then comes to the question. We've been having a lot of tests, and this is I don't know how well they market this thing. I'm the internet is so fucking broken now, and I don't know. I don't watch regular television enough to know how the marketing was for this, but they seem to, from CinemaCon and everything, start pushing this and pushing him in this movie. He's made this is a big dud. I don't think that it's his fault, because he's asked to do exactly what they ask him to do here, and that's the problem. But this should have at least made 50 to 60 million, right? Like Predator's Badlands. It should have made Predator's Badlands money. If I'm looking at it, it made Predator's Badlands has made $98 million worldwide.
Yep.
That should have been this movie's opening weekend. If he's the movie star,
yeah, in a
we're
starting
world,
to promise. Yeah.
And
at least like 50.
At least 50.
In a different
half of its budget back.
This would have done like 50 million.
And then maybe it has some legs, but it's not going to have legs because it's going to lose every fucking theater on the planet next week.
Yeah.
When Wicked comes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it speaks because of him. And then he had the Chad Power show, which critically didn't do really well, and a lot of people didn't really like it. Where are you at with him? What do you think that he should do next? Do you think that he's got a Barry Jenkins sci-fi project lined up? Well, I don't know when the hell that's going to be made, because Barry Jenkins got like 400 projects. He's obviously rumored to maybe do Top Gun 3 whenever they get that script ready. Yeah. They're working on it. Is he just a byproduct? He's more of the co-lead for Twisters, but is he kind of like in Chalamet's range right now, where we're like waiting to see if he can break out and do his own thing? Because this is technically IP, and he couldn't get this over the finish line.
Yeah,
even close to the finish line, right?
I will say it's hard these days to sell any movie based on a movie star. As decent as One Battle After Another has done at the box office worldwide, it sustained some solid legs and did like pretty well. Yeah. Given the
it's going to break even.
Yeah. It's
not going to lose $100 million. Like when people were posting that, I'm like, I don't think you know how box office works. Like, if it's 130 in a 70 world, which it is 130 deadline, it's very funny. Like every time you hear somebody talk about One Battle After Another, like, this is no shade, but I've heard people from the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and I've heard them go, well, it's 140. Well, it's 150. Actually, it's 175. Next week, they're going to say it was $500 million to make.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Deadline, who works with you assholes, said it was 130, confirmed it. So it's 130 on a $70 million, around the world marketing campaign. It's a $200 million movie. Guess what? It's got to make 200 to essentially get all that cost back. Now, all the other little things, they'll get that on digital. They'll find there's tax incentive. It's gonna break. It's just gonna, you know what? It's gonna break even. And that's honestly the good thing. That's obviously a win for that movie.
No, absolutely, because
he's never made a $200 million movie before.
And this is getting away from my initial point, but that is a win for Warner Brothers, because they wanted that as a big awards play anyway,
and they've got it.
So like that.
But this is different. They wanted this to be a hit.
So, and my initial point with One Battle After Another was that like it's not like people showed up in droves to see Leo. Like, you just can't sell a movie star anymore, really. Like,
no, he had the same kind of numbers for Killers of the Flower Moon 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, like, if you can't sell Leo, you can't sell Glenn Powell, because, you know what I mean? Like,
look at Cruise. So, Cruise didn't do, like, Mission Impossible movies haven't done well. The last two. Yeah. The one that saved his bacon has been Top Gun.
People don't show up for a movie star. I feel like now, like, people show up for, obviously they show up for IP they like still.
Does F1 count?
How did F1 do? I wasn't sure what the box office was like on that one. I think it did solid, right?
Yeah, like it made F1 I remember it making a crap ton of money. So it was a $200 to $300 million budget.
Yeah.
So let's call it down the middle. Let's say 250. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just call it 250. Just be fair for conversation. It made $631 million.
That's pretty solid.
That's honestly really good when you mostly are like, it's a sports movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, and I do wonder what sold people on getting out to see that one, honestly. But that movie got really good reviews.
It did, and it was an international draw too. That sport is hugely
And,
popular
and
internationally.
that's true. And this is and the review element is what I was going to get at, is that One Battle After Another had legs because it had great reviews.
Yes.
The Running Man is not does not have great reviews. It has very
No.
tepid, mild reception, even from people that kind of liked it, like myself. Like I would give it, if I reviewed this for the site, I would give it like maybe like a B minus,
Yeah.
which is like not very enthusiastic.
Trace,
So
do you want to
it's
see? Do you want me to tell you the box office breakdown for F1?
absolutely,
So I made $631 million. So 190 domestic, 441 internationally. So
yeah,
70% of that market was internationally.
yeah. So that's it. That really seems like
It was the sport and the
appeal
people
of the
that watched
sport,
it. Yeah, that drived it. Literally.
So even then, that is some form of kind of like IP then, because
It is a form of IP, but it's also
yeah.
something people have really never fully seen on the big screen in that specific manner. You also got to say it's from the people that did Top Gun that are
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
and they got to market that. And it's got Brad Pitt, so it's got a noticeable star
Yeah.
in it.
And sure, the Running Man
And I
is
think
technically,
the reviews thing is absolutely right though.
yeah, and sure, like the Running Man is technically IP, but it's not like it's not like everyone's a fan. It's not like there's
It
a
is
bunch of
like
Running
the
Man fans out there.
B. I would probably even put C tier of book. We're digging in the barrel to find Stephen King novels, novellas, short stories, and turning them into movies now.
Yeah.
And I think that it was Flanagan is responsible for a lot of this, Mike Flanagan, because he had the Gerald's Game on Netflix, and then he had Doctor Sleep, and he had these Stephen King novels that he's done really well with in his career. Like he's done really well.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple of years, we've had this resurgence of Stephen King novels and big screen adaptations. And for the like it is another thing. The It movies, the two
It
It
is another
movies,
thing.
they did so well,
They did great.
and we
That was
learned.
horror.
Yeah, but it was horror. You're right, and we don't learn from our mistakes ever. Of just because it works one time doesn't mean it's going to keep working over and over again.
Yeah. No.
And that's
It-
a tier level brand type of book from Stephen King.
Yeah, A tier brand and a combination of it being horror with the cast it had. Like, yeah, sure. Like, of course that was going to be
And
successful.
split
So,
into
like,
two movies and
yeah,
done really
yeah.
well. And yeah.
it has a nostalgia element because people remember the It miniseries, like much more than they like remember or respect the original Running Man movie.
Nobody
So, like,
gives a shit about the Running Man in Arnold's filmography.
yeah, no,
Because
no
the
one talks
next
about the
year,
fucking
guess
Running Man.
what? The next year or 2 years later, whatever it is, he makes a better conspiracy film in fucking Total Recall
Yeah.
than
Also,
he does with this.
also the same year that Running Man came out, Predator came out. Which
Yeah. So he was fine. Like
So-
it didn't do well. Good. He had Predator, the
Yeah,
movie
so-
that's now got IP, making $100 million, and this is
Yeah.
$100 million budget. It's not gonna make shit.
I
We
didn't-
turned
I
it
didn't-
all around.
I actually didn't clock that this same year at the same time it was another Predator Running Man movie situation coming out.
But no, I think that the problem is that Edgar Wright, and I say this with a lot of people, he doesn't have the juice to make a political commentary.
No, he does.
He's never been a political director.
He's not, and he's not courageous enough to be.
But it's like he's watching since Last Night in Soho in this film. He's for 4 years. It's like he's been watching movies make
all he does.
these giant. Yeah, he's all over Letterboxd, and you're not wrong. He's one of the very few directors that has embraced Letterboxd from its beginning, and he's watched a lot of these movies. And I feel like he's watched like Oppenheimer and One Battle After Another, and the dozens and dozens of films that have made political commentaries and statements, and this is his chance to do it within his kind of fanboy world, because that's what he's slowly become, is just like a fanboy. And
That's what he is.
he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
I love him. I love
He's
watching his
done
videos. Like
every interview on the planet with anyone right now because he
I
has to.
I
You know,
genuinely love watching the guy talk. Like I feel like his
he knows what
infectious
he's
love for
talking about.
movies. I even like feel like how infectious. Like it seems like he's really proud of this movie,
He
and like
is. I don't know why. Like, can I? What? I can't say that out loud.
no,
Like,
you can't.
I watch. I like. Listen, I watch it and I go, "What do you have to be proud of?" Like, and I know that sounds mean. It is mean. It's meant to be mean. There's nothing in
Well,
here
it's because I know he
he
can do
should be
better.
proud of. There's stuff in there that others should feel proud of, like Glenn Powell saves his bacon for the most part of this movie.
Yeah,
Lee Pace is very good. Brolin delivers a couple of good lines.
everyone's pretty good.
Coleman,
Everyone's
like the
yeah,
cast is doing the heavy lifting of this movie.
except for
Amelia Jones, who's
yeah,
just bad.
which I will be honest. She
Well,
is
most of
not
the females'
served
characters in this movie are pretty horrible.
pretty horrible, and she's not served the best material. So like I feel like she's doing what she can with a part that is like horribly
But I
underwritten.
bought into
And
Glenn Powell's whole storyline of him trying to get the medicine for the baby, and like it's very like one note and everything. Yeah, I bought into that relationship. Others online didn't, but I bought into that
I bought
relationship.
into it okay. I thought it was an interesting turn from the original movie where he is like framed.
Yeah,
He was like a military guy who, they wanted to like kill civilians in mass, and then they framed him as the one that actually did it when he refused to do it, and then he goes on the run, and then they put him in the Running Man. I think this is it is an interesting turn for this movie where this guy is just a willing participant because he wants to help he wants to support his family. I think that speaks to some form of like
yeah.
desperation that we are all feeling
The
in a
kid's
world
so
that's
cute too.
yeah,
My
the kid's,
God.
he's so cute.
Yeah.
Um, I do think that does speak to a world that's continuously getting like where it feels like people that are struggling are getting more and more desperate to survive. I think there's some truth there, a nugget of some kind of insightful commentary. Um, I do feel like we got away from the initial question, which was like, where is Glenn Powell going from
Yeah.
here? I do feel like his character here. It's very funny that his main character trait is he's just pegged as angry guy because I don't think of Glenn Powell as angry guy,
I
and I
never thought
don't
of him as an angry guy.
I don't know that I don't know that he sells it too much really, but I feel like he's doing his best with what he's given. I like the guy, but looking at his filmography, I don't know what his lane is. I don't know if he knows what his lane is. Um, because I don't know that I see him as like an action star, honestly. Like I look at this, I look at Twisters, I look at that I don't know, even he's good in Top Gun Maverick as a supporting role though.
I think. Do you want
I
to know? Do you want to hear my take on this?
yeah.
I think that he is in his McConaughey early stages. I think he's going to follow the McConaughey playbook
Yeah.
because he's like they're Longhorn fans.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
went to UT. He's still trying to go to school. He's got a big
Yeah.
family, a weird family, tight family. I think this is what's going to happen to him. This is the playbook for Glenn Powell.
Yeah, probably so.
Make a couple more rom coms.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Make a couple more rom coms like Anybody But You, because the rom com is a genre that is untapped right now that could make a crap ton of money at the box office. Look at something like Materialist. Materialist was a movie that was marketed as a rom com, and people got really mad because it wasn't one, right? It was
Yep.
more romantic drama.
Yes.
And it still made $100 million on a $20 million budget. Like, that's really good, even for A24 standards.
I didn't
Anybody's
realize it did
standards.
that. I didn't realize it did
Yeah, it
that
made
well,
$100 million. People are kind of because of all the controversies that surrounded it online, and people were like, "Oh, materialist and this material." Like, well, guess what, folks? It made money. Like it made 108 on a 20.
Gosh, that is a bona fide success.
That is literally the definition of a bona fide success.
Yeah.
And so my thing would be is do what you did with Anybody But You for a little bit. Make a couple of rom-coms, get people to like you, use your charisma, be in there with, just
that was
rebuild that genre up, and you'll be the king of Hollywood for doing that.
Anyone But You was a big success too. Didn't that movie make a bunch of money?
It made a good amount of money. It turned Sydney Sweeney into what she is really. It's turned him kind of more into what he is because he had that and Maverick and
Yeah.
Twisters. And then you know what he's going to do? He's going to stop making the action movies here in about 5-10 years. He's going to turn to doing drama. And I think he can actually be a good actor there. I
Yeah.
think he'll do like a transformational role. And he's so goddamn likable, Trace. He'll win an Oscar one of these days. And
I
he'll
believe
work, he'll do some indie films because he'll have all the money and he'll be able to say, I can do this role, I can do that role, I can do this role, I can do that role. What he shouldn't do is just, try to put himself as the action guy. You know what I mean? For the rest
Yeah.
of his life. Because that would be a mistake. That would be a mistake on his part. And that would be a mistake on what other movie stars don't do. Like, say what you want about Chalamet and him being like Mr. Wonka and putting chocolate in your pocket and doing all the Dune stuff. But his last two movies are a musical biopic and then a Safdie movie.
Yeah.
So
Marty.
like he's trying different things in between doing his IP stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this test coming up for him for Marty Supreme, a $70 million film, will be his ultimate, like, if he can get money, like if this crazy viral marketing campaign that he's doing works, then we really can't say fucking shit about this at that point because then he's like the only one that's doing it properly. But he is kind of doing it like Leo, where he's like, I'll make some stuff. Like Leo's IP was Scorsese. Like that's really what it was. Like he would make a Scorsese film, then he would go do something else different. But then he has an Inception that comes in there. Then he has a Wolf of Wall Street that comes out. Then he has a Catch Me If You Can. So he has all these different things that populate. Powell, I think, has to diversify what he's doing because he can't just be the action guy. And he also needs to be a little bit like his boy TC, like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And he needs to be like, I need to pick the project. I need to pick the director. Because guess what? The last time he did that, he delivered one of his best roles of his career in Hitman. He found that article, gave it to Linklater. They wrote it together, and him and Adria Arjona have incredible chemistry in that movie.
They do, and I would like to see him do more stuff like that. I wasn't as hot on Hitman as a lot of people, but I do recognize that he's great in that movie, and it's a good role for him.
But that's like a good vehicle. It's a hell of a lot better vehicle than this thing.
It definitely is. Yeah.
And it's done on a smaller scale too.
Looking at his upcoming projects that are ostensibly in the pipe right now.
Yeah.
He has a J.J. Abrams movie.
Yes, he does. He has the return of the director of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes,
Gracie's father.
It is Gracie's father. It is some sci-fi horror fantasy movie with Jenna Ortega and Sam Jackson in it, so that could be interesting. Not a bad world to move into for.
Honestly, J.J. Abrams makes money.
Yeah, so like as far as him still testing the waters, as far as like where his star power can be best utilized, not like a bad move. And then I also see like this has in pre-production, there's some untitled Judd Apatow project that he would be in.
Oh God!
I say what you want about Judd. I could see it. I could see
him doing a comedy. He's he's got good comedic timing, but not with Judd Apatow, for the love of God.
It depends. There's some Judd stuff I really love, but
obviously,
what
was that Netflix movie that he did that was fucking terrible?
The Bubble.
The Bubble. Come on, like that's what his follow up would be there. You know?
But right before that, he did. I realized not everyone likes this movie, but he did The King of Staten Island. I thought that movie was pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
So like if
I'm not a Davidson guy, but I think it does have its qualities to it.
If it's not a train wreck like The Bubble, I could see a world in which Glenn doing one of those, overlong Judd Apatow dramedies where he has to where he's being.
Can I say the perfect person he should work with?
Yeah, go for it.
And I'm dead fucking serious about this. Glenn Powell, please work with Nancy Meyers.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, every movie star should, but he would be perfect in a world with her.
Yeah,
because he could play. He's such a movie star, and she loves movie stars, and he could get that. If it wasn't like her Netflix dream idea was like that thing with like Owen Wilson and Penelope Cruz and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, Get Owen Wilson, throw him out of there. Get that
Yeah.
Texan, throw him out, put Glenn in, and I think the studios would then come a calling. I really do. I don't think he's going to get hurt by this. But where does Edgar Wright go after this? What does he
Oh,
do?
God, he
That's the
needs.
$1 million question.
Well,
A
the
$100
answer,
million
the,
question.
the yeah. The answer is that he and I mean Simon Pegg has said in interviews they are working on something, and that needs to be the next thing he does. That anything else needs to be tossed to the wayside for right now. I think he needs to reteam with Simon Pegg.
It'll be a
Uh,
smaller scale. It'll be
so
probably pretty good.
I watched the interview and Simon Pegg said whatever they're kind of shooting some stuff around right now and whatever it's going to be something very different from the Cornetto stuff, which is fine because I trust Simon Pegg as a writer.
Yeah.
And like I know that
He's
whatever
a
he
good
does,
coordinator.
yeah. So like I feel like as long as I feel like Edgar Wright's creative energies are flowing the best with his buddy Pegg.
Yeah.
So I just that needs to be the next thing right now
It
because
really does. I do think that there would be goodwill behind it too. People would have nostalgia
yeah,
for their
absolutely.
stuff, and you can have those conversations about those movies and them coming back together. I mean, almost working together for like 20 years, over 20
Yeah,
years.
for sure.
I think that that's the right move. I think what he needs to do is scale the budgets back a bit.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If you are a director and you do not successfully either break even or exceed your budget, you have to take a step back.
Yeah.
And that includes everybody. Like that even includes unless you're Spielberg or Scorsese because you've got limited time. Like I'm talking young people,
Yes.
like I'm talking, like, and you might have to work with a streamer, and
Yeah.
that might be where he has to go to, you know.
Yeah, it might. But like, he definitely needs to go back to something a little smaller. How much was fucking Shaun of the Dead made for? How much was Hot Fuzz made for? World's End was made for 20 million.
I bet you like
Um,
all those like first four films were made for the equivalent of this budget for this one,
yeah, yeah,
and you don't
absolutely.
even feel its budget. You're like, when you're like, man, that looks like $100 million. They put every dollar. Like Trace, there's a movie I think you appreciate, and I appreciate. When you watch Del Toro's Frankenstein,
Mhm.
you see every dollar on that screen.
You really do. It's lavish.
When you watch One Battle, you feel the budget of that damn thing.
Yep,
You
it's
feel
got
the
scale.
totality of it. You got the scale of it. When you watch Sinners, you feel its weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They might be like small marginal locations, but you can feel that they built everything, that they got all the cars, that they stitched every costume together. You could feel these things. And then you watch like Running Man and you're like, wait, that was $110 million. Where did the fuck did it go?
Feels cheap.
It feels really cheap, and it also is just too long. They got
It's
that
so
20 minutes
long.
out of this movie, and I'm not one of these guys always is like, oh, cut this and that, but an effective action movie from one of a pretty good guy that can handle tone, and it's just lingering, and not
Yeah.
getting to its point. And then when it finally gets to its point, it's like, oh, that's all you wanted to say here.
That was it.
Yeah,
It feels like I had watched like the equivalent of five different movies by the time I got to the end of this film. Like I was there was a point for about 5 or 10 minutes in the
did
middle
you check
section of the movie
out?
that I just checked out completely and I was like, God damn, this is still fucking going. It felt so long to watch. I couldn't believe how poorly paced it was.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But
Um,
as I will say, like I liked I liked the Michael Cera set piece. Like I think he's fun in this movie, even if
oh man,
he
you and
I
I are
think
going to disagree on this one.
I think he's another example of like the movie not knowing what kind of tone it wants to be.
Fair.
But for that scene in a vacuum, I like Michael Cera, and I think the scene is fun, and I think it's representative of like a better, faster, more kinetic um version of this movie where he has this like house that's set up with all these home alone traps basically and he's acting like a maniac. Like that's fun. That's a fun version in this movie. And I think Edgar Wright needed to decide whether like I'm going to make the Edgar Wright version of this movie, which is fun and fast paced and kind of satirical and kinetic and all those things that he was doing best in the Cornetto world, or making a very earnest, trenchant social satire, which he tries to do both at the same time, and each one kind of neuters the other one because he ends up just not really committing to either, especially the social commentary stuff, which is just the broadest, weightless, most like revolutionary like shit with like Banksy imagery. Like I like it's just
It's bad.
it's really it does not say anything about our current state of affairs in America to any relevant degree.
Yeah, like this movie's supposed to take place in America, and then I found out they're like, oh, we just shot all this in like Budapest.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
and
and it kind of,
yeah,
and it fucking looks like that in Canada. It looks
and
not,
I think they shot some in the UK as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
So it just doesn't look like an American film either.
yeah,
Like you can just tell when movies are made fucking here. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And you just can't. Well, that's The Running Man. We gave it a fucking glowing recommendation. Uh,
I was trying to find more nice to say about it
it's
because
very hard. I think the more you walk away from it, the more you're. I think the word for it is frustrating
it is just frustrating. Yeah.
because to Jay's point in his review, he was like, "This should be a concept that works.
Yeah.
This should be a concept, honestly, that somebody should cook in." And instead, this isn't like going to a gourmet place. This is like going to Golden Corral.
I mean, back
You know,
to Glenn Powell's decisions as an actor, I could see why he would want to do this. Edgar Wright going back to action mode.
I'm working with
Making
Josh Brolin and Lee Pace and
yeah,
Coleman Domingo and Katie O'Brien, who's actually pretty good in her smaller role. And
yeah.
and then I would be like, whoa, I'm working with Amelia Jones. But then she's got such a significant part in the end of this movie, and she's so bad. And what they, it's not even just what she does, because she's actually pretty good on the. Do you watch Task? Did you see that?
No,
On
I don't.
HBO?
I haven't.
She's actually like pretty good on that. The writing of the character is pretty horrible in this movie, to be fair for her.
That is my excuse for her, is that I think it's a bad character. I think the character is poorly implemented.
I had to tell you, the Michael Cera stuff, I wanted to just, circle to what you said, and then we can wrap it up here. Is it's like I would have liked the Michael Cera stuff if we didn't have the random crazy mom angle with it as well, which felt very
That's a little
Evil Dead kind of
yes.
nod, and it's like completely out of the tone and pace of the rest of this thing.
And something else is just very ham-fisted as far as
Yeah.
like, some kind of social commentary where she's like brain rotted to hell or whatever.
Yeah, and we don't get enough of that. Like we
Yeah.
should have more of that. Like it should,
Yeah.
and then there's so many like little things that they introduce and then they don't fully follow up or go into it or anything. Like William H. Macy's in this movie for like a scene or two, and
I forget.
he's great. And then it's like, God, we don't have any. It would have been kind of great, and hear me out, if we find out that Glenn Powell actually, even though he says he doesn't want to be on The Running Man, he actually secretly does want to be in The Running Man.
Yeah.
And that he does want to systemically take it down within the formula. Like if he already knew about the revolution, and it all, what he was playing a facade of himself inside the game. And what if once inside of him trying to take it down, the game took him over?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because that's where the Bill Macy stuff comes from, because it's kind of like he's already underground. He's already doing shady shit. So, like, why isn't that's a way to subvert this without being? But the problem is, Edgar Wright is so beholden to the novel and such a fanboy of the novel that he can't see that, like, hey, people are fans of novels and then they do whatever the fuck they want because it makes sense as a movie to change it, or it makes sense to change something that was written 40 years ago to affect now. Like, wouldn't that been probably a cool idea, Trace, if like they just said, you know what? He's like, because everybody's watching you, right? And you introduce like sort of like I was thinking of Tony Scott. Really, I was. A lot of like enemy of the state. Everyone's looking at you. You got to be this persona. You got to be desperate. You got to quit your job, right?
Yep.
And you got to go beg for it. So then everything gets back to the corporation, right? and then you realize, no, he's been underground, like a mid twist where it's like, no, I've been underground this whole time, and we're gonna try to take this fucker down from the inside, and I've got the secret. Da, 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 da. That might have been a little bit more interesting.
It
Because
definitely
then
would
I
have
would have been
been.
like, oh shit, they made a choice.
Yeah, it definitely. That's the thing. At least it would have been a choice, which I feel like Edgar Wright and I guess Michael Bacall just seem incapable of doing.
I think I've been like on a
Um,
roll this year of rewriting some of these movies. Like like have you seen Eternity?
I haven't seen it
Okay.
after they turned me away at TIFF for having a backpack.
That's right. Shout out to Tiff for being absolute a-holes to Trace at the what was it? Was it the Roy Thompson?
Yeah, it was the Roy Thompson, which according to everybody I talked to that attends TIFF regularly or lives in Toronto is like that venue sucks. I hate seeing movies there and their security is terrible. So I guess it's that venue in particular.
It is a venue I actively avoided when I
Yeah.
went to TIFF this year because I remember
I didn't go in
no, I
because they turned me away.
didn't get in. No, like they stick you up in this corner all the way at the tip top, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's how I'm supposed to watch this movie? Is that like literally the top of like an opera house? It feels like get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Trace, thank you for coming
Ryan.
on.
Ryan, thanks for having me.
Well, always, buddy. I got to ask you. Now that you've seen Running Man, and you've seen most of these films so far this year, I got to ask you the really important question: are you excited for next week? Are you excited for Wicked Fever?
No. I'm not. I'm not excited for Wicked Fever. I'm going to drag myself to the press screening this week because I feel like I have an obligation to see it as someone that like talks about movies and has awards that he has to vote in. But
It's more of a It's more like a punishment at this point.
yeah,
for you.
pretty much. I haven't seen Wicked the show. Don't know anything about Wicked the show.
You were
I
not a
hate-
fan of the first film.
I hated the first movie. Thought it was one of the worst movies I saw that year. I have no affection for it at all. I thought the movie it reminded me most of was Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
Holy shit!
I thought it was as misguided and visually just atrociously ugly as that movie.
Trace,
So
I
I
had
just have
someone tell me what Wicked for Good was, what it felt like for them, and I can give you that nugget here, and I'll tease the audience because that's what we're talking about next week.
Please.
So I haven't seen the film yet. People, I think, kind of know my stance on that film. They think I hate it. I mean, clearly you hate it. I don't.
I do hate it.
I don't.
I will take the fire because I do hate it.
I don't hate it. I think that it is a movie that. How do I put this and say this politely, without pissing everybody off? But I think of it as what Martin Scorsese thinks of Marvel movies. They're an amusement park ride.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any place when talking about the best movies of the year. They don't have a place to talk about in awards. They are exactly designed. It is exactly designed to make the money that it's going to make, and in doing so, there's massive amount of fan service, massive amount of just audience manipulation in order to get people in the theater to see this movie because they need it to make money. It is a moneymaker. That's what it is. And to a certain degree, that's what Running Man is. And I didn't like that movie. So I could say multitudes of movies I don't like. But someone who I deeply respect saw the film and said that they felt that Wicked for Good was that it had the Rise of Skywalker vibes to it.
God.
So this is what we look forward to seeing on Tuesday.
From the director of Now You See Me Too. And also recently watched by myself, Step Up to the Streets, which bad movie, but objectively better directed than Wicked.
What are your take on In the Heights?
I haven't seen it.
You
I have
haven't
no
seen
take. No, I'm takeless. I haven't seen it.
Chase is like, nope, not going to that musical. Not gonna watch that when it came out.
You know why? Because I don't like John Chu and I don't like Anthony Ramos.
Jesus. I think you and Eric would get along really well. I think you really would. Trace, you should come back on next week for it, honestly.
if you want me back to come back to talk about Wicked for good,
I see you, me, and on the calendar, it looks like Josh is going to be on with us. I think that would be great. I think it would be awesome. Just coming on here, just the dudes hanging out, talking about Wicked.
Just the dudes.
It's going to be a full conversation next week on spoilers and just the show and everything. I think Josh is more anticipating it. Wasn't as harsh on it as I was, or obviously you. But I kind of feel like you should come on just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have Trace. Maybe we'll have Trace back on next week. Just got to line up schedules. Trace, can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet?
Yes. I mean, right. You can find me on AwardsWatch writing stuff. Mostly reviews, and sometimes other retrospective stuff, which I haven't had time to do recently.
We miss them. We miss those retrospectives.
Yeah,
so good.
I need to start pitching some more like anniversary or retrospective stuff. I've been all over the place.
I know, buddy.
For months now.
Well, you've been carrying the torch, doing a lot of reviews for us on the site.
So and I'm also.
He might have one big one left in him, folks.
Oh my gosh!
Might have one big one left in him.
Also, Paste Magazine, I'm there occasionally. Some other stuff, some other places around the internet. And then you can find me on Letterboxd, Trace Sauveur.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, at Blue Sky, or Blue Sky at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find me doing another show, which is called Director Watch, here on Thursdays. We are in the midst of a Claire Denis movie series. We are talking Beau Travail this week. Tracy, have you seen Beau Travail?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Good movie. Myself, Jay, and Eric on that episode. Very, very good episode. Very insightful episode. Honestly, one of the better ones that we've done. Very serious boys until about like midway through that show. And iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews. While you're on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all the news reviews. Tons of interviews are going up on the website right now, and all the award season stuff that'll be coming very, very soon. Next week, we will be talking about Wicked for Good with myself. Josh will be here. I think Trace will be here. We're just gonna poke him with a stick to get him back, and we're gonna all see and test the theory. Are we all changed for the better next week?
More like Wicked for Bad.
Oh my God! Go into it with an open mind. Or go into it with exactly how you feel you think it deserves to be.
I have one more thing to say about The Running Man.
Oh, okay. One more thing before we're out of here. Literally on the final minute.
Yeah.
All right. What is it?
He didn't run that much.
He didn't run that much.
He didn't. He wasn't really running that much.
He wasn't running. That is so true.
Yeah. A lot of hiding.
A lot of more like the hiding man. Yeah. Am I right? Hiding a good movie. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.